chances are that you've got a concern about a leaky home. Maybe you'd like to hear my story. My name is Marguerite Bryan, and I did own a home in Auckland which turned out to be a leaky home. I bought the property in 2002, a small 2-story, 3-4 bedroom house in Browns Bay with lovely unobstructed views out over the water. It was clad with Hardie Techs, although I didn't realize it at the time. It had been built, to my knowledge, in the early 1990s. I lived in the house for 3 years and found it to be a lovely, warm, sunny, enjoyable place to live. Most of all, it was dry. I had obtained a building report before I bought the house, and it confirmed that it was a dry house, and that was my experience of it. By about 2008 or 9, when I was no longer living in that house, my property managers began to report complaints from tenants about dampness and mold forming, things of which I'd been unaware. I was surprised, obviously. It became more and more of an issue, more complaints, but I was never certain if it was a problem with the house or if tenants weren't airing the house properly or ventilating it adequately or heating it or whatever. I heard about the James Hardie class action suit and got in touch with Parker&Associates, the lawyers leading the case, who helped me by arranging some expert testing to be done on the house. The report came back that yes, definitely by this stage it had become a leaky building, showing significant moisture levels inside the walls. The cladding on the exterior is breaking down. So all of the problems are between the exterior and the interior cladding. No way to quantify that without tearing the house apart. When I lived there, these issues were never evident, but clearly they've been getting worse over time. A very conservative estimate for me to contemplate repairing or rectifying the problems, conservatively to begin with, we're talking $300,000 to $400,000, and I think those costs would probably blow out to closer to $750,000. I don't have that kind of capital to put into rectifying a leaky building. Secondly, I live in Hawke's Bay now, and there was no way that I wanted to manage a project like that while living here. Thirdly, I have no intention of returning to Auckland. So after a lot of soul searching and thought, I made the decision that I had to cut my losses and sell the property. I was fortunate to find a private buyer with the skills to do this type of work by himself. He had been looking specifically for this type of property that he could buy at a reasonable price on the Auckland market, and by putting in his own labor, get a foothold in that market. He was the perfect buyer for me and for this house. I ended up selling it at a significant loss over what it should have fetched on the Auckland market, and that is the loss I'll be claiming in the class action. What kind of impact has all this had on me? Well, if you are contemplating what I'm contemplating, or you're facing what I'm facing, you'll know the stress involved, especially when I'm not living in the property or anywhere near the property. It's come as quite a shock that this has happened. It was a terrible blow to me to have to sell at such a loss on what was at that point the high in the Auckland market. And for someone who's retired and on fixed income, this was quite a hit financially for me. So it's been pretty serious. On the other side, I recognized that joining in to the class action was going to be my probably only chance at recovering some of or all of the loss that I'm claiming. And so I want to be a part of it, and that's why I am a part of it. It was going to be far less costly this way than to try to repair the house myself. So at the end of the day, the bigger the group that gets involved in the class action, the better it will be for everyone. It will help to spread the costs which are not inconsiderable. It may bring to light many, many more buildings clad with defective product, possibly even for people who don't know that they own buildings like this. I'm hoping products like this will never be used again.